Daily Devotion with Pastor Balla for April 30th, 2023, from Proverbs chapter 17, verse 11. An evil man seeks only rebellion, and a cruel messenger will be sent against him. Consider our own country was founded with a rebellion. Was there a response from Mother England? The answer is yes. This proverb names that concept. As Christians, we should be very careful about any rebellion against the government. Even during the time of the Revolutionary War, not all Lutherans were united, but equally divided, supporting England and supporting the rebellion. So who was right? Well, God would still be able to work through either side. But this proverb notes that there will be consequences, just like we experienced in the Civil War. There's also another aspect to this proverb. An evil man seeks only rebellion. As Christians, we realize that rebellion is not the only answer, but is sometimes necessary for the protection of the people. Verse 12, let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Now, we may disagree with this proverb, but let's consider the consequences of the she-bear robbed of her cubs may result in my physical death, fair enough, but the fool in his folly could lead me astray to a spiritual death. Well, in that case, I would rather face the she-bear instead of the fool and be led astray. Verse 13, if anyone returns evil for good, evil will not depart from his house. So the trigger of the evil is being given out as because of an act of good. Now, this may sound ridiculous, but let's consider today's world. Our world which is redefining good as evil and evil as good. So if God calls something good, like marriage between a man and a woman, and God calls something bad, like a marriage between two men or two women, and the world reverses those titles of good and bad, then you can kind of see where this proverb is coming from. And it's a beautiful warning for us as Christians that when the world changes or redefines God's definitions, the world will naturally want to hate us, as Jesus notes, just because we're holding on to God's definitions instead of the world's definitions. But as the proverb notes, evil will not depart from his house, meaning that the world will never have the saving grace that God gives. So as Christians, we should always be looking for the truth that comes from God's word, not from the truth of the world around us. Verse 14, the beginning of strife is like letting out water. So quit before the quarrel breaks out. Just like a broken water pipe, or maybe a better illustration would be a broken sewer pipe, the sooner it gets stopped, the less of a mess there is to clean up. So also in our relationships with other people, the sooner we can get the relationship patched up, the less of a mess there will be in that relationship. Verse 15, he who justifies the wicked and he who condemns the righteous are both alike an abomination to the Lord. So there are two problems in this proverb, and when combined together, it creates a devastation. The first problem is that the wicked are justified, and the second problem is that the righteous are condemned. Unfortunately, this can happen really quickly when, as we heard before, definitions are changed, calling good an evil and evil a good. Keep in mind that God's definitions never change. God's word endures forever, which should make things easy for us. But the world around us is constantly changing. So as Christians, as we hear this proverb, we have to ask God to help us to remain faithful to his enduring word. God's peace and many blessings be with you. And thank you for listening. And please take an opportunity to share this message with others. If you have enjoyed these daily devotions, please consider making a donation to Peace Lutheran Church, 24024 West Main Street, Plainfield, Illinois, 60544. Thank you again for listening.